Hi foodies, and welcome to my infamous lasagna recipe. I've been making this for people since 1989. I used to have Friday night lasagna parties for my friends, and now my family loves it. My daughter Faith says that my son-in-law is obsessed with it, but everybody loves it along with my chili. These are family favorites. You're not going to use these. Do you understand? Do not use these. And you're not going to take regular lasagna noodles and put them in dry and just use extra sauce. I don't care what TikTok tells you. Nope. So we're going to use ground beef and ground pork. And I'm going to get to all that in a little bit as to why. Diced tomato, sweet yellow onion, some minced garlic cloves, and some tomato paste, a carrot. I only have baby carrots, so I'm improvising. And our spices for the meat sauce are going to be basil, some fennel seed, salt and pepper. Also some tomato sauce. We are not going to use oregano. This is not a pizza. This is not chicken. So these are what is going in the bolognese sauce. And now for the ricotta mixture, we're using the ricotta cheese, ricotta, and 2 eggs, a Parmesan Romano, parsley, sour cream, and some white pepper and salt. Now if you don't have white pepper, that's fine. I'm just using it for the aesthetic to keep the little black specks out of the white cheese mixture, but it tastes the same. And I'm using mozzarella cheese, mozzarella, and non-smoked provolone. I do not like my provolone smoked, especially in my lasagna. And regular old school boil lasagna noodles. For my Alfredo, I'm doing a heavy cream. I'm using a minced garlic in the press, the garlic press, not so pressed garlic, I should say. Butter, more Parmesan Romano, and an olive oil. I don't do a bechamel. That's just heavy cream flour and butter. It's boring. I like the Alfredo. So I'm getting my water boiling right now, and I preheated my oven to 350. Let's start with the meat sauce. So we're gonna put the onion in with a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna add the meats and the garlic, and obviously we are going to brown the meats and saute it with the onion and the garlic. At this point, we are going to add our spices to the mix, and then once it's all incorporated, we're going to end up draining the meats once the meats are all brown. But we are not going to drain the diced tomatoes, so you're going to add the undrained tomatoes along with the tomato paste and the tomato sauce. And again, if your budget allows for it, try to get the most high-end ingredients for this. It really makes a difference. And then we're going to add the carrot. We're not going to keep the carrots in here. This is just to sweeten the sauce naturally and take away the acidity without having to add sugar. Italians typically use carrots, not sugar. But in a pinch, you do what you got to do. So meanwhile, I'm salting my water, and I'm using a French gray seasonings or salt for the pasta. It flavors the pasta so well, and it really doesn't make the water boil any faster. You would have to add a crap ton of salt in order for that to happen, so the physics don't really matter on this. And do not add oil. I promise you do not want to add oil to your noodles. They won't stick if you use a large enough pot and if you cook them correctly. So now we're doing the ricotta mix. So I put the ricotta cheese, or ricotta, however you pronounce it. I'm from Chicago. I should probably say ricotta, but into a bowl, and then you're going to beat the 2 eggs, add them along with the parsley and the salt and pepper and the sour cream and the cheese. And you're going to blend that very well. This is where my little spatula spoon comes in so handy for this recipe. And you can blend until it's kind of soupy. I hate a dry lasagna. That's why I also only do 2 layers of my lasagna. So at this point, my noodles are doing very well. You want to cook it al dente, which means to the tooth. It's kind of sticky if you throw it against a wall, because then the noodles will finish cooking while it's baking. And I totally messed up. I'm so sorry, you guys, about the Alfredo sauce, but you melt the butter with the garlic, add the cream, add the cheese, boom. And now I drained my lasagna noodles. Do not rinse them. Do not rinse them with water. Don't add oil. There's all kinds of physics as to why, and you do want to take a cupful of the pasta water for later. So now I'm going to start the layering process. Yeah, so the reason you don't want to rinse it is because the same principle. Oh, look, I'm bleeding. It's so labor intensive. No, I'm just kidding. Is you don't want to rinse the starch off the noodles. Starch has a lot of flavor and it helps the sauce cling to the noodles. The oil is a repellent as well, and you just it takes away the flavor, it takes away the salt, it takes everything you just did. So you just want to keep the noodles as they are. They shouldn't be sticky if you didn't overcook them. So our first layer is going to be the ricotta, you know, the filling mix. Okay, so we're going to spread that out. Now I'm doing a layer of the mozzarella cheese. Make sure you remove the papers, because sometimes people have forgot that. Now, last time I made this, the shape of the mozzarella cheese I got was perfectly square. These are like, I don't even know, like they're weird shapes, so they're not completely covering it with the cheese. So I'm not real happy with that, because of course I want the whole layer to be covered with cheese. So I'm going to improvise here, and I'm going to cut up a little bit. Also, I don't know, you know, some families, some people really love the dried curly ends of the lasagna in the corners. We're not those people, so I mean, you know, adjust it how you like it. So now I'm taking half of the layer of the meat sauce and obviously putting it on top of the cheese layer. Then I'm going to take half of the Alfredo sauce and just kind of, you know, sprinkle it over the meat sauce. So yeah, I mean, if you really like the crispy corner edges, by all means, don't bring the ingredients all the way to the end. But like I said, we're not those people. So now I'm going to do another layer of the noodles. And again, I only do the 2 layers of the noodles. You can do as many layers as you want, up to 4. This is a 9 by 13 pan. I think you can accommodate maybe another layer on this one. But once I've added the more, I'm just going to finish up the rest of the ricotta mixture here. And this is where it gets weird. I don't layer it the way I just did before. Now I'm putting the meat sauce directly on top of the ricotta mixture. And I just added the rest, or just a little bit, about half of the cup of the pasta water to the rest of the sauce. And what that does is, as you can see, it just blends it out really well. The starch in the pasta water helps to thicken sauces as well. It's always great to save a little bit of that. Now I'm putting all the provolone cheese on the top. And provolone's weird because, you know, it's round, so depending on how much cheese you want, you might want to take some pieces and kind of, you know, play geometric games like I'm doing here and try to fit it all in. But yeah, normally I would leave the meat sauce layer on the top and just add parsley, but you know, I'm experimenting now, and I did find that this is better. I like this better. So now I'm just filling in the blanks here with the rest of the cheese, and then putting on some more parsley. Al forno, I don't have a brick Italian smoked oven, but the al forno part does mean baked in the oven. Basically, these days it means boil the pasta and then bake it in the oven. That's the al forno. So I put this in for 15 minutes, covered in foil, and look at that cheese pool. That's crazy. I took the foil off, and this was what was sticking to the foil, this big huge pool of cheese. This is so cheesy and delicious and decadent and marvelous, and oh yeah. So I put it back in the oven for 15 minutes uncovered, no foil, and then you want to let it rest for 15 minutes before you serve it. And phenomenal. Serve it with garlic bread, serve it with a salad, serve it with some spinach. I like it ooey and gooey like this. I do not like a dry lasagna. Do not give me dry.